Morning. Come and have a seat. Now, of course, I'm not going to go easy on you. There are some really big questions we've got to try and get answers to this morning. But I'll be fair, and we just want to hear what you've got to say. So, shall we get on with it?
And we're rolling.
Here we go. Join me to hear from the biggest names inside and outside politics.
Sunday with Laura Kuenssberg. Watch on BBC iPlayer.
Today at 1, after turmoil on the financial markets, pressure grows on the Prime Minister to rethink her tax-cutting plans. In office for fewer than 40 days, but Liz Truss faces calls to change course. A cabinet colleague warns against changes at the top.
I think that changing the leadership would be a disastrously bad idea, not just politically, but also economically.
And this lunchtime, Downing Street has insisted that there'll be no more U-turns on the mini-budget. Also on the programme. Fewer operations are being carried out by the NHS in England as the waiting list for treatment hits a record high. The Metropolitan Police is investigating more than 600 domestic and sexual abuse claims against its own staff. Ukrainian fighters who defended the Mariupol steelworks until they had to surrender to Russia. We hear the story of one of them on his release.
When I look at this, it actually reminds me of me because it's the exact same as my glasses.
And the young people hoping to see more emojis that look like them. Good afternoon and welcome to the BBC News at 1. Downing Street is insisting this lunchtime there will be no further U-turns, despite pressure intensifying on the Prime Minister to rethink her tax-cutting plans following last month's mini-budget. It comes after the government last week abandoned its plan to abolish the 45p tax rate for top earners. But senior Conservatives have continued to voice grave concerns at Liz Truss's tax-cutting measures without explaining how she will balance the books. One MP last night accused the Prime Minister of trashing blue-collar conservatism. Downing Street says its policy is the right one for growth. Our political correspondent Jonathan Blake reports. The time is just after 1:15. Our top story this lunchtime. Downing Street insists there will be no more U-turns on the mini-budget as pressure grows on the Prime Minister to rethink her tax-cutting plans after turmoil on the financial markets. And coming up, we ask why more than 100 unaccompanied child migrants have gone missing since crossing the Channel into England.
Coming up on the BBC News Channel, there are calls for a streamlined 10-team premiership as rugby union's financial crisis deepens, with Wasps likely to follow Worcester into administration and out of the league.
The BBC has learned that the Metropolitan Police is investigating more than 600 allegations of sexual or domestic abuse against its own officers. The force established a special unit to examine possible criminal or unprofessional behaviour after a series of scandals, including the murder of Sarah Everard by a serving officer. Our Home Affairs correspondent Tom Simons has been given exclusive access to see some of the work currently in progress. And a reminder now of our top story. Downing Street insists there'll be no more U-turns on the mini-budget as pressure grows on the Prime Minister to rethink her tax-cutting plans after turmoil on the financial markets. Well, that is all from the BBC News at 1, so it's goodbye from me. And on BBC One, we now join the BBC's news teams where you are. Bye-bye.